Hi, welcome to our ADU designed by Kate Ledger.
Favorite things. I'm always impressed how when people come into the Mahal for the first time, they can't believe the first question is how many square feet is it, and when you tell them, well, it's like 240 or 280, they can't believe it. The volume and the way it's apportioned is really amazing, and the sense of both expansiveness and being kind of cozy at the same time is really, it never gets old. We really enjoy that a great deal.
I have to say that the amount of light, that architectural detail of the seamless glass in the kitchen and the kitchenette is such a beautiful architectural detail that I love, and the use of sliding glass doors as windows. That too was brilliant because I can sit on them and climb out, and it just really brings the outside in. So, and to echo what Brian said, the balance of prospect and refuge is done so beautifully. So we adore Kate and her work.
And also, finally, the way that it's constructed, the 6-inch walls and the blow-in insulation, the temperature in there is really very pleasant all year round. It's very modulated, and I think that's a testament to the passive solar design of it. So it doesn't really require all that much heat, really, or ventilation for that matter.
And the fan helps.
And the fans definitely help.
Hi, I'm Kate Ledger, and I worked on this project as the designer. And I'm going to start off by talking conceptually about how we approach our work. I've been a green architect really since I started doing architecture in '91, and I think our first and primary focus is on climate change issues and trying to minimize our climate impacts of buildings. And then it's about resource efficiency, trying to minimize the resource depletion. And then it's about toxicity, minimizing toxicity. So looking at the climate issues, we're really trying to make the building as energy efficient as possible. And then whatever energy loads we do have, to electrify them and then receive that electricity from renewable sources. So this building is very, very energy efficient. We used big windows to the south to get heat for the building and also light. We insulated it really well. And then we have thermal mass for the floor, which holds the heat at nighttime, so it stays evenly warm. And in the summer, when it's hot outside, it also stays fairly cool in here as well. So it's a nice passively heated and cooled space. So it has very, very minimal heat loads, and those heat loads are met with just simple electric resistance heaters. We didn't need a heat pump because the heating loads are so small. So we have an electric resistance heater here, and then we have a little toe kick heater in the kitchen. So I showed you the radiator, and this is the little toe kick heater, and it's got a fan in there, so it blows the heat and it goes into the bathroom as well. So it heats both the kitchen and the bathroom. So for in order to help with the heat in the summer, we have the big ass ceiling fan here, and that actually, when it's working, I think it drops the perceived temperature by 5 or 10 degrees in the space. So any residual heat that makes it in here in the summertime, which is not much because of the good insulation in the building, the temperature is brought down with the fan. Another feature the building has are a little mini heat recovery ventilation system, and there's a little ventilation there, and then there's another one on the other side of the building, on the other end, and it has this little fan that just is slowly drawing air out, while the other one is drawing air in, and then every 10 minutes it changes, and it has a filter so that it cleans the air that's coming into the space. And that's important when you make a building that has is well sealed. Like this one, you need to have air coming through. So the last component of the kind of the energy systems of the house would be the wood burning stove. And this is just a very, very efficient wood burning stove. It's a Kimberly, and it's super small. And what's amazing about it is that it's like 5 times or 3 times more energy producing than this space even needs. So it heats up the space really fast, and needs chunks of wood that are, I don't know, that are teeny tiny, like, like this size. But it's more of an ambiance component of the energy system as opposed to being a necessary piece. So the second aspect that we focus on in our work is resource efficiency and trying to minimize resource depletion. And one of the most important things we can do is to build small. And this is a very small living space. It's 440 square feet if you include the garage portion or the shop portion. And the way we do that is we really think long and hard about the layout so that it is it's efficient in its use of space. And so we have a little kitchen, we have a little bathroom. The living room space works well both for living and for other aspects of life, working out or having dinner or whatnot. And then we try and use materials efficiently. Brian talked about the windowsill, which is reclaimed wood. There's a lot of reclaimed wood throughout the project. We try and use materials that are recycled. For example, all the insulation is blown in cellulose, which is just shredded phone books and newspapers and boxes. So the last thing that we focus on is toxicity and trying to minimize the toxins in the building. For example, avoiding foam plastic insulation and using materials that, finishes that don't off-gas a lot. So for here, I think I mentioned before that we use blown-in cellulose insulation in the walls, and we did that in all the walls and the ceiling, and then under the slab, the concrete slab, we used rigid mineral wool. For toxicity, I wanted to mention that one of our favorite resources for building is Healthy Building Network. They have a resource guide called Home Free, which they developed to work with affordable housing communities. And so they have a lot of really great information about how to make your house as safe as possible.
So when I think about why it's important to me to green our home, I think about my complicated feelings about owning property on native lands, specifically Ohlone. I start there, and then I think about Steve and Susanna, the former owners who live off the grid in Vermont. And Steve writes and works with Helen and Norberg Hodge on their project called Local Futures. Actually, I even dreamt of Wendell Berry, the agroecologist, poet, farmer, the night before I met them. And the next day, they said they knew him. And then Steve waxed poetic on the amazing patch of biodiversity that is our backyard grass. So Steve and Susanna are in the mix for me. And then lastly, I think just guided by my love of nature, my hippie values, my deep concern for climate instability, and my desire to just leave a small footprint